Some time ago, we looked at 3 fragrances from the niche fragrance house, Mind Games. We looked at Scholar's Made, Blockade, and Azuli Diamond. 3 beautiful fragrances. I have 2 more fragrances that I recently acquired from the house. Double Attack, a beautiful chocolate fragrance, and a brand new one called Ruy Lopez. Stay tuned as we look at these 2 stellar fragrances from a top-notch fragrance house called Mind Games. You may already know Mind Games is a new niche fragrance house that launched 10 fragrances in 2022. Their first collection was called Artisan, and there are 2 sides to this collection. There's a dark side with dark flacons, and there's a light side with lighter flacons. We looked at Scholar's Made from the dark side of the bottles, and Blockade as well as Azuli Diamond from the light side of those bottles. If you're interested in this video, I will link it in the description if you want to know more. I recently acquired 2 more from Mind Games. 1 more from the dark side of the Artisan collection called Double Attack, a beautiful chocolate fragrance. And 1 from a brand new collection called Soulmate. This is a new fragrance and the name of it is Ruy Lopez. The new collection, Soulmate, just like the Artisan collection, also has 10 fragrances. 5 on the dark side and 5 on the light side. Since we already have looked at the Artisan collection in a previous video, let's go ahead and start with the fragrance Double Attack, since it is a new addition for me to the original collection Artisan. If you've been in a fragrance boutique, luxury fragrance boutique lately, then you will no doubt remember these amazing flacons from Mind Games. These are all crafted in the style of a modern chessboard piece. Double Attack features the knight as its cap. The original chessboards used to have pieces made completely out of wood. However, the only wood remaining on these is going to be the solid wood collar right at the top, on all the light and the dark. It is also worth mentioning that the bottle design definitely plays a role in the niche price of this entire collection, as well as the 100 milliliter extrait de parfum concentration of all the fragrances. These 2 facts certainly will have a role in the pricing of these. But be that as it may, they do feel like quality in your hand, and the flacon is solid, heavy glass, and the caps are also made of solid metal with a snap mechanism that is audible and satisfying. Strong enough to support the bottle, although I would exercise caution as the snap will soften over time, and I would hate for you to drop your fragrance on the ground and perhaps shatter it. But let's give Double Attack a spray or 2 and see where we're at, since that's what you're here for. Let's see. Nice, soft sprayer, very airy, plenty comes out. It is an extrait de parfum, remember? The notes listed on the Mind Games website are going to be orange bitters, pimento oil, and pink pepper CO2. The CO2 is a subcritical extract, which means that the substance is only available in small amounts from reputable sources. And it is very different from something like essential oil. In the middle, we're going to have agave flower, cinnamon from Madagascar, and some geranium. In the base, the notes are dark chocolate, vanilla, also from Madagascar, and some vetiver bourbon, which is a sub-variety of vetiver oil and is often used in higher-end creations and has sort of an earthy, leathery, nutty nuance. And last but not least, we have some sandalwood from India. Something to note is on the bottle it says bitter chocolate and saffron. However, no mention of saffron in the notes on the websites. But why don't we give this one a spray again? It's a really nice one. Right after you spray this one, you're going to have the dark chocolate. It is very, very smooth, and there's a bit of a tingly sensation to it. Most likely that's going to be from the pepper and the pimento. There's also vanilla and cinnamon. The combination gives this sort of a little bit of a cake mixy feel, without being too doughy though. More like the cake mix out of a box when it's still dry. There's also a slight floral nuance in here, with the combination of the sandalwood to keep it from being really heavy or a chocolatey gourmand. It is still a gourmand, but it's not as heavy as you would think. While I was wearing this one, I did like the dark chocolate vibe throughout the day. It was really nice. Although I would have liked for it to be a little bit more on the projecting side. However, it did last all day. It also wears a bit fresher than anticipated, which makes this one a stellar choice for work and play throughout the cooler months, since it is a little bit heavier. If you are a chocolate lover, like I am, then you will agree this Mind Games Double Attack fragrance is fully enjoyable by anyone, men and women of all ages everywhere, just like chocolate. The company did send me a savings code, so if you are looking to increase your collection with a Mind Games fragrance and you love chocolate, or any of the other ones really, then you can save 10% with the code CENTRAIL10, and that's all in caps. A penny saved is a penny earned, my grandfather used to say. Let's move on to the newest one from the Soulmate collection. Released in 2023, like I said earlier, there are also 10 fragrances, 5 dark and 5 light in the bottle design. The design pretty much stayed the same. Just here it is. There's also a little paper in the front that gives you a layout of what's inside, the notes and so on and so forth. It's in there pretty tight. Here is Ruy Lopez. If you are wondering what the term Ruy Lopez means or where it comes from, the term Ruy Lopez is a chess move coined after the Spanish priest from the 16th century, and it is often also called the Spanish opening. This Ruy Lopez opening is very popular in chess due to its many variations. Depicted on the box, you will see a chess pawn. Although the cap to me looks more like a bishop with a scarf wrapped around it. Also on the box, we have 2 notes listed. We have Davana, a tea-like note reminiscent of dried fruit, and then there is some plum. Let's give Ruy Lopez a spray or two as well. Of course, we're going to have the same sprayer, sort of soft and misty, very nice. On the Mind Games website, the notes listed are going to be black tea, black pepper, and the delicious note of cherry as one of the top notes. The belly features rose, dark rum, and the earlier mentioned Davana. And finally, in the dry down, the features are going to be patchouli, leather, and some oak wood. Let's give it another spray, since we did the last one too, and it is a wonderful sprayer. The first note, when you first spray it, is going to be a rose note. Even though the rose in here is going to be listed in the middle, and I'm not really truly a huge rose, fragrance fan. I do love them in the garden, but in fragrance, rose often overpowers most other notes in my opinion. But in Ruy Lopez, however, it is only very quick and stands out at the very beginning, and it's quickly surrounded by a deeper, sweeter note of cherry. The black tea note in here gives it a bit of a darker edge and lightens it just a little bit. I do quite like that. And the slight tingle from the pepper is also there. I can feel it sort of in the back of my throat just a bit. The dark rum note is faint, and I would really like it, or I wouldn't mind it, if it was a little bit warmer and a little bit stronger. There's also some brightness in here, likely from the leather and the oak wood. This is not a wet oak wood, more like a dry oak. And the leather note is also much fresher and not animalic at all. It is more like a suede. While I was wearing Ruy Lopez, I found it to be somewhat linear, elegant and sophisticated, with a bigger projection than the Double Attack. It did gain a little bit of depth towards the patchouli and leather later in the day. While Double Attack is for everyone and anybody can wear it, Ruy Lopez is not quite as easy and maybe not for the faint of heart. It is quite loud. Of course, it is like all the other ones I have tested from the Mind Games. It is extrait de parfum, top-notch niche quality. You can smell the niche quality and the quality in this fragrance. However, you need to have a more matured nose to pick up the nuances in Ruy Lopez, and you have to like rose. Due to the floral cherry component, it is also just a little bit on the feminine side. And it is not as sweet as many of the fragrances currently out today on the shelves, especially the ones sort of geared for the younger crowd. Personally, I would have liked for Ruy Lopez to be slightly more boozy and maybe just a touch more sweetness. Of course, this could be that we are in the winter months and Ruy Lopez comes across on the colder side of fragrances, better suited for warmer days, unlike the more cozy, super chocolatey double attack that truly shines in colder months. I'll have to give Ruy Lopez a try next summer. Who knows? After all, our journey begins with but one single scent. And this Mind Games fragrance may end up being one of my favorites in the summer from the Soulmate collection as time goes on. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed this review of Ruy Lopez and Double Attack from the House of Mind Games. If you did, don't forget to love, like, share. I would love to have you on board. Remember, our fragrance journey begins with but one single scent. Until next time, I want you to take good care of yourself, always smell nice, and I will talk to you soon.